everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Calibrics Report. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and click the notification button if you want to see all our latest episodes. So today we are talking about project and process management, which is a topic on Calibrics Report in many of our previous episodes. Today, we're looking at it from a different angle, and we're focusing on the legal profession, and we're talking about legal project management. To guide us through this episode, we're joined by Todd Hutchison, who is the first individual to complete the legal project management degree worldwide. He's also a behavioral and project management specialist and an international best-selling author. Amongst his many achievements are his accolades, diplomas, and certifications in legal project management and project management as a whole. So we're so happy to be here today with Todd Hutchison. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Okay, so I think we're going to launch into our questions. And the first one is, of course, the Institute or the International Institute for Legal Project Management. What is this institute? Why does it exist? And how does it play a role in the legal profession?
The International Institute of Legal Project Management was actually set up because worldwide it was a little bit unclear on what legal project management actually was. We started by doing a survey of practitioners in 9 countries. They were all lawyers, but they were using the term legal project management. And when we actually looked at what they were doing, we did define the term to be the application of project management principles and practices to enhance the delivery of legal services. But however, when we looked at the survey, we realised it was going far beyond just project processes to cover really 4 areas. The first one was project processes that were applicable to the law profession. But we also found that process improvement played a key part, and there was a big area of law which we call legal operations, the supporting of legal matters. We also recognise that technology enablement is becoming very important. The law profession has its own legal practice software, and also the impact of artificial intelligence. And the last part was actually very focused on the people leadership and the people dynamics element. So whilst there was a group of practitioners using it in different ways, the Institute was required because we had to go back and say, what exactly is it? What does it comprise? And what are the typical toolboxes used worldwide? And that's where it really started, by getting top practitioners together. They came from both project management experience and also legal project management. And by bringing them together, really defining what it was and why has it become so popular.
Yeah, that's very interesting, because I can also say from experience in Calibrics, the expos, conferences, etc. we attend, legal project management seems to be the new buzzword in the legal profession. So can you maybe just give us an indication of how this is different than normal project management, and why do we need legal project management professionals within a law firm?
Very good question. Well, when you look at law in practice, every lawyer who is leading a legal matter actually is a legal project manager, arguably. However, what's really changed? Well, one of the key drivers that have come from the changes in the profession is that there's been a move from the historic billable hour, which effectively was work, charge, work, charge, work, charge, something lawyers, by the way, like. However, there was a move to go to what other industries have, such as fixed price legal services, which they actually refer to as alternate fee arrangements. And when you move from a billable hour to something like fixed price, it really warranted getting very clear on what the scope was, of course, defining the scope to a point where it could be priced, and then starting to use typical traditional project management practices of managing risks and issues and variations or changes. Because when you're doing just a billable hour, you're effectively just working on the scope and then giving that back and charging. But because the world demand for going over to different fee structures, it warranted a completely different thinking of how to do it. So, for example, if you go from a billable hour, you basically just, whatever scope you've got, you're working, you're doing. But as soon as you go to a fixed price, you've got to really actually understand to the point where, up front, we can give a price that we can deliver on. And that means that in traditional practice, we would effectively, sometimes law firms charge for even 6 minutes on a phone call. But when you go to fixed price, you actually want to manage how many phone calls you want to get, because in the billable hour, the longer you take, the more you get paid. And you might use higher, more senior lawyers, because that's where the rate, the fees are highest. When you move over to things like fixed price, you don't necessarily want them ringing. You want to make sure the scope's well, you're managing their expectations. And of course, you might be using the least resource that is competent enough to do the task and leverage technology. So it's a completely shift. And where it became popular, of course, is a lot of lawyers are now working in legal counsel inside big organisations, and they've become the client. And they're actually asking for fixed price because they've got their budget like everyone else, and everyone wants to make sure we're getting the most efficient and aligned legal services. So the shift is really a big mindset change for the profession, but fixed price is only one of the many alternate fee arrangements.
All of these factors are now more important than ever, I think. So let's talk a little bit about the certification. Who can apply to do the LPIP certification? How does it work? Please tell us a little bit more about that and give us some information and background.
Excellent. Well, of course, any competency model is to recognise people's level of competence and, of course, giving them some credibility globally. The International Institute of Legal Project Management has provided that by providing a global certification that is stating some standards people work to. For legal project management, we've also included legal process improvement. So for legal project management, a person that is either supporting a legal matter, could be a practice manager, could be a paralegal, it could be a person that's just working in the teams or on the peripheries, they are actually deemed to be at a point of a legal team member. And so we have a certification for them, which is the Legal Project Associate. This typically takes 2 days of education. And basically, even people coming outside the profession can come into the profession, which has really been a big change for legal project management, because on that note, a professional project manager outside the law and never being qualified in law can actually come into working in a law firm as a legal project manager. Because if you look at the concept of a legal project manager, they're more focused on the process and allowing the lawyers to just focus on the legal tasks. So that has really revolutionised who we're bringing into the profession, which can include the paralegal who wants to promote themselves up and get more involved in the legal matters and become a legal project manager. Now, to become a legal project manager, that means if they're actually working as a lawyer, or they have, for example, have experience working at a law firm or legal counsel, there is some experience requirements, but then they would actually go and do the training that aligns to the legal project practitioner. So the legal project practitioner is a certification for the legal project manager. Now, to get those two, the education requirements is slightly different. For the LPA certification, it requires 2 days, and the certification, when you get it, you get to keep it. So it goes on forever. Whereas when you actually go to become the extra day, which is a 3-day program to get the legal project practitioner, you actually do have to meet some of those workplace experiences, and it does require you to be reassessed every 5 years to make sure you're still up to date, because really that's the legal project manager role. We've also recognised that people that are running in legal operations or legal process improvement is actually a different role, because quality is part of a legal matter, but it's also part of how the legal practice works. So the legal operations, as we call it. And so we've recognised that there needs to be a legal process improvement professional, LPIP. This requires a minimum of 2 days training in the legal process improvement area. And that means that not only are we focusing on just the legal matter, but we're also looking at the business of law, whether it's a law firm or basically an in-house counsel in a part of a corporation.
And if we were to be interested to do this certification, how do we see where we enroll? Are there different locations worldwide? Because this is an internationally accredited certification. So how do we figure out where to go, who to call, what to do next to enroll?
Excellent. Well, maybe our portal or the website's the best place to go, which is www.iilpm.com. We currently have what we call accredited training providers in 13 countries of the world. So these, by going on there, you would pick whether you want to be in South Africa, America, US, Spain, Germany, etc. And you effectively follow up on the key person in your region.
So can you tell us how much training is required for this accredited certification?
Well, the Legal Project Associate is designed at people supporting legal matters or coming new into the profession but not being in the legal project manager role. What we have found by doing a survey and looking at international standards, so they're aligned to qualifications as well, is that we found that you needed at least 2 days of dedicated training in legal project management. By doing those 2 days and meeting the competency requirements, you can then apply to become the Legal Project Associate or LPA. And the Legal Project Professional or LPP requires 3 days training. So effectively it takes another day to actually look at the leadership components of legal project management. And of course, the Legal Process Improvement Professional, well, that requires a minimum of 2 days as well. And that will then give you a certification that is actually kind of running parallel to legal project management. And that's really around the legal process and legal operations area.
So I think the question that we still want to ask is, only lawyers that can do the LPP certification, or is it open to other professionals as well?
Very good question, actually. That was where legal project management has had a real shift in the legal profession, because in countries such as America, UK and Australia, they're actually starting to employ professional project managers to come into the law. And if you look at that, if you look at a complex case, you actually need the project manager per se to be managing the process and the communications and knowledge management, etc. And the lawyers can then focus on just the law. And when you move from cost models such to fixed price legal services, well, we're trying to keep the minimal price. So it just so happens, because we need the focus on the professional skills on project management, a lot of legal project managers now are coming from being certified project managers outside of law and are not qualified in law to coming in and taking up those roles. That also gives a great opportunity for lawyers who kind of don't want to practice law, or they might not have their practice certificate but want to stay in the law profession. This is the perfect role for them. And it also covers people that have actually worked in the profession who may have taken maternity leave off, etc., and they don't feel like they have the confidence on where the law's at. So it's a great way to transition back in. But the role that's finding it very exciting is the focus of the paralegal, because technology is starting to change the paralegal's role, and a lot of the research they used to do in e-discovery is now being taken over by technology. So where does that paralegal, who often is very experienced in the law firm, very experienced in supporting matters, but has never moved to become a practicing and qualified lawyer, well, this gives them a direct career path now in the firm. So that allows lawyers to just focus on the legal task, while someone that may be better apt in the communications and the coordination to be the actual legal project manager. And that has really shifted the way we're doing law worldwide.
That's amazing. And there you have it, a legal project management qualification, internationally accredited, and it's open to more than just the legal profession. So do yourselves a favor and visit the website www.iilpm. It's in the description below. Click on it and be sure to check out all of the offerings. For now, remember to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we will see you next time on the Calibrics Report, where we will be reporting on our recent session for Konrad Adenauer Stiftung. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Ciao.